We are learning more about Tashfeen Malik and how she came to the U.S. on a fiancé visa. To get that visa, Malik was subjected to or supposed to be a vetting process that includes in-person interviews, fingerprints, checks against terror watch lists, and reviews of her family members' travel history and places where she lived and worked. Plus, she was subjected to additional scrutiny because she applied from a country that is home to some Islamic extremists. So how did she slip through the cracks? Congressman Bob Goodlatte is the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, does a lot of work on immigration reform issues with visa as well. Chairman, thank you for joining us today.
Great to be with you, Shannon.
What's your reaction to hearing that there are reports that apparently the address that she listed, her foreign address, may not have even been accurate?
This is very, very serious because we've had concerns about enforcement of our immigration laws. Following 9/11, we required that anyone have an interview prior to coming to the U.S. Unfortunately, the Obama administration has interpreted that to mean only the initial interview. So we've asked for her file. We've asked for the notes from the interviewer to find out what happened. I was briefed by the FBI Assistant Director yesterday. He did not have that information at that point. So this is very important to get to the bottom of this because it has very wide-ranging implications for people coming into this country legally on a number of different type of visas who might be a threat like she clearly was.
And my understanding is the process she was supposed to go through for this particular visa was much more stringent than what we would do for somebody who's trying to come on an emergency refugee basis at this point. Of course, we're focused on Syrian refugees at this point. How can the government assure us that those vetting procedures, which are lesser than Tashfeen Malik would have been put through, are going to catch any quote bad guys who are coming here posing as these desperate refugees who clearly need help, but with intentions of doing something much like what we saw in California this week?
Well, they can't. In fact, one of the things the administration has pointed to as well, these are primarily women and children, and we shouldn't be as concerned. Well, here is a woman who came in radicalized and committed this atrocity. So when you're dealing with a country like Syria, which has broken down into total disarray, you can't even do the normal things that you can do in Saudi Arabia or Pakistan even. So we've said you should hit the pause button. In fact, we voted to say in the House by a veto-proof majority with a lot of Democrats joining us to say that we should not be admitting people unless you can do this process properly. You can't get to records. You can't get to talk to neighbors and business associates in Syria. So let's hit the pause button on Syria and the part of Iraq that is affected by this as well.
But the administration, including the president, basically intimates that that's heartless and that it's hypocritical to not let people in.
It's not heartless at all. The United States is the most generous country in the world when it comes to refugees, both admitting them from other countries to our country and in terms of taking care of them in places close to their home. I have visited refugee settlements outside of Syria in Jordan, and they are well taken care of there, and the country that provides by far the most financial assistance of any country in the world is the United States. Americans should be proud of what we do to help people who are in difficult situations elsewhere in the world, but we should not jeopardize our own security in blindly saying that these are simply women and children. There are plenty of men who apply for refugee status as well, but it is the will of the person who wants to come here that needs to be carefully examined before refugees from these countries are admitted to the United States.
Very quickly, do you think that there is a will in Congress to perform some kind of overhaul of the visa program? Is it possible?
I think we absolutely have to examine every aspect of our immigration program. We started with the refugee program. This week we're going to vote on the visa waiver program, which 38 countries, including France, has, where people can be from these countries but now French citizens and then come to the United States on a waiver without even having the interview. So we need to make sure that that is halted and require a visa application for people who have dual citizenships from Syria, Iraq, Iran, and one other country, Sudan, and then we allow the Secretary of Homeland Security to add additional countries if they deem it appropriate. But we need to look at every aspect of our immigration program. We've passed several bills out of the Judiciary Committee that are ready to go to the floor that would deal with people coming across our borders and in the interior of the country.
We will watch those. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.